was brilliant. He was always in control, never panicked.
The best one I've seen at Old Trafford for a United keeper.
The boy will, at 20 years of age, we expect a learning process to be in operation at the moment, and we'll see it through.
David De Gea's career was full of ups and downs, and right now he is the most valuable free agent on the market. But if De Gea doesn't find a top club in which he will be the #1 keeper, he will retire from football at the early age of 32. Let's dive into his career and find out how he became a legend in England and an outcast in Spain. David De Gea became a part of Atletico's youth academy when he was 13 years old, after impressing at a summer tournament. The local papers called him El Nino Prodigea. He grew in size and skill under the guidance of Atletico coaches, and by 2007 he was Spain's first choice keeper for the under-17 selection. By 2009, De Gea was still fairly unknown to the world, and he nearly joined Wigan Athletic on a loan as Atletico brought in 2 more goalkeepers in that season, making him their 3rd or 4th option after Sergio Asenjo, Roberto Jimenez and Joel Robles. Despite being overlooked, De Gea chose to stay and fight for his spot at Atletico. Atletico was his life. He spent his teenage years in the academy before making his official club debut in the Champions League against Porto. In that game, he impressed the fans by stopping a penalty and putting in a solid performance. But it wasn't enough to convince the manager to give him the #1 spot. His luck changed in October 2009 when Atletico sacked Abel Rezino and brought in Flores as head coach, and more importantly, Emiliano Alvarez as the goalkeeper coach. Atletico was near the bottom of the table, and the club was in chaos, which meant Flores had to start building from the bottom to the top and give every player the same opportunity to prove he deserves to be in the starting lineup. Alvarez fell in love with De Gea from the very start. He said, "I saw a marvelous potential, a diamond that needed to be polished." His training methods transformed De Gea into a more complete goalkeeper and unleashed his potential. Alvarez made De Gea train blindfolded and train with a tennis ball in order to improve De Gea's already impressive reflexes. By April 2010, he had 5 games under his gloves as a first-team player. But the world really started noticing De Gea after he was given a chance to play both legs against Liverpool in the Europa League. He successfully kept the clean sheet in the first match at home with a performance that was well beyond his years. But the real magic happened at Anfield. It was on that day that Manchester United and Ferguson first heard praise of this young Spanish keeper. He became a fan favorite, and the team relied on him. He was regularly getting praised by the manager, who called him tall, agile, and fast. It was a real fairy tale of a local boy becoming one of the best players in his boyhood club. Unfortunately, it remained only a fairy tale. The way he handled the move in 2011 is why many Atletico fans don't like him to this day. He was saying he loves playing for Atletico and that he wouldn't leave the club. It's all lies. I have a contract with Atletico until 2013. It is my lifetime club. But even the manager wasn't buying what De Gea was selling. And in a press conference, he stated, "My personal opinion is that De Gea will leave. In September, we offered to renew his contract. We offered him 6 times more money. I'd love him to stay, but my opinion is that he will leave for Manchester United." And sure enough, he did. But not before providing us with the iconic sheet cover fail as he was going in for his medical at Manchester United. He left the club for 19 million, and this left a bitter taste for Atletico fans. But he wasn't done insulting them yet. More on that later. He left the drama in Madrid and received a warm welcome at United as Ferguson saw him as the long-term replacement for Van der Sar, who retired at the age of 40 on the same year De Gea joined, and the young 20-year-old Spaniard was immediately given the #1 position at the club. His start was up and down, but it was to be expected considering he was so young. Ferguson supported him throughout his rough patches, saying he also has to mature physically. But young kids have wobbles. They get up, wobble again, get up, and then walk. And this boy is walking now. In 2012, He still had a few wobbles, but also gaining more experience and becoming a class goalkeeper. And people around the club considered him to be one of the best 24-year-olds in the league, as well as one of the players that had real world-class potential. Now, for more Atletico insults. Ever since Jorge Mendes became his agent, it was speculated he could join Real Madrid. And almost every year there were reports about him being Casillas' long-term replacement at the club. And in 2015, the conditions were perfect. Casillas left the club to go to Porto, and De Gea only had 12 months left on his contract at United. Manchester made peace with the fact they will be losing him. Both parties came to an agreement, and De Gea was set for Madrid. Or at least he would be, if not for the faulty fax machine incident, which sent the contract 5 minutes too late. Both clubs were accusing each other, and it wasn't clear who was really at fault. What do you think happened? United capitalized on David's disappointment and acted quickly in securing De Gea's signature on a long-term contract. He re-signed until 2019, but he was still linked with Real Madrid every summer until Madrid signed Courtois in 2018. The first real threat to his United career came in June 2016, when he was accused of committing in 2012. More precisely, he was accused of setting up a meeting between two players and but 2 months later he was cleared of all charges, and his career at United continued to flourish as he went on to make 74 saves that season and taking part in United's treble of Community Shield, EFL Cup and Europa League. 2017 brought more success for De Gea. He was named United's Player of the Year and won his first Golden Glove since joining the Red Devils. At the start of the 2018 season, everyone was expecting De Gea to continue his great performances. But he made mistake after mistake. At one point, it got so bad, he was single-handedly responsible for conceding goals 4 out of 5 games in a row. And things weren't better for him in the international scene either. The bad performances in Sochi for Spain meant he got replaced by the Bilbao keeper, and he hasn't been back since. Despite that poor year, United fans never blamed him because their team's defense was way worse and made mistakes just as often as De Gea did. 2020 was a good year for De Gea as he celebrated the birth of his daughter. However, this was the first season since joining United in which he had less than 30 appearances. His performances were below standard and he had real competition in Dean Henderson, but Ole kept his faith in the Spaniard and kept giving him playing time over Henderson and even gave him the last penalty against Villarreal in the Europa League final. He missed, and questions about De Gea's mentality surfaced once more. But as De Gea does, he silenced these critics with an outstanding performance in the 21-22 season, in which he once again won the United's Player of the Year award for 2021-22. His good form continued in 2022-23, a season in which he won the Golden Glove award for the second time. He eventually had over 500 appearances for Manchester United and a record-breaking 181 clean sheets, but United felt like it was time for a change and took the opportunity to sign Andre Onana, who was seen as being at least as good as De Gea. But now there are lots of United fans that would love to see De Gea back in the team, as Onana had a wobbly start. David De Gea is now the world's most valuable free agent. There are lots of clubs that would love to sign him, but there are very few that would be able to meet his criteria, and he now faces a possibility of retiring at an extremely young age for a goalkeeper. The first criteria he has is that he is the #1 keeper and that the club is playing at the highest level, both domestically and internationally. This would still leave him with a lot of options, as he is still a really solid goalkeeper. But the big problem is the second criteria, 340,000 wage demand per month, that not a lot of clubs would be willing to pay. In my opinion, De Gea should sober up to the reality of the situation, where he isn't going to be in a club that is fighting for the Champions League trophy, as he could only be a backup for the likes of Courtois. and sign for a club like Sevilla, where he could play with the likes of Sergio Ramos, or Real Betis, where he could then play in Europe and attempt to regain his form and build a better relationship with the Spanish press that have been harsh towards him since the Sheikh debacle in 2011. What do you think would be the best destination for De Gea? De Gea holds United's record for the most clean sheets and has left a lasting mark at the club. In fact, many United fans think letting him go was a mistake, and I think it would be a mistake from De Gea to keep his head in the clouds and retire because of his ridiculous wage demands, while he still has so much to give. Do you think De Gea will find another club, or will he actually retire at 32? Thank you for watching to the end. You're a real one.